Welcome to Loleventvods. Watch the full game of today's LTA 2025 matchup.
To see if they can kind of just mentally, you know what? All right, no problem. Let's do it again.
All right, they are going to run it back on the same side of the rift. Shopify once again on blue. Let's see how our bans are looking. Game number 3. So Fearless is starting to kick in somewhat meaningfully here with the 10 champions from both games now having been removed. We've got Callista and Gwen banned out by Shopify. The Vi and the Victor banned out by FlyQuest. The one that is still missing is that Yone that I mentioned in the previous game is kind of a staple ban against Palafox. So we'll see if FlyQuest goes with that here, as the Karma is the third ban for Shopify.
Yeah, it would definitely stick out if they left up the Yone and would make you think, all right, well, they've practiced something. Play? Yeah, all right, what you got? What's your answer?
Maybe Quad will do to him what Chovy did. He bring out the smolder mid.
There we go.
And they did leave it up. So let's see what is the actual answer here, because it feels so obvious. It's like, as Shopify, you're like, I want that, but you know that I want that. Like, what's going on here?
Wait a second.
Okay, Shopify does not want that, at least not first. Instead, they're going to insta-lock the big meatball in the top lane, the Scion for Fudge.
It's kind of like another of those takeaways of Bwupo's answers. You know, again, they have to win some games to be able to get there, but it is really cool to think about Fearless in this kind of way, right? Where you take away some of these picks that are more of the niche picks for your opponent, and you're limiting their pool in that way. And if Fudge is comfortable on these, I mean, he looked very good on the Yorick, then it can be quite effective. It is going to be the Renekton answer, which obviously is going to get pretty heavily outscaled. I'm curious to see if Fudge is kind of the similar playstyle on Scion to what Bwupo does, where Bwupo really likes the AD items. He's more reliant on the HP that is in this kit. You know, does like to go Titanic Hydra and, Bloodlord's Mail and things like that, and try to play it really aggressive. But this is going to be a tough 2v2 to survive, no matter what jungler contracts drafts.
Exactly. Might have to make use of that zombie passive when Sejuani is...
Got to use the whole kit.
Sejuani is paired with Renekton.
Get Kog'Maw in there, double it up.
That is a strong top side of the map. We'll see what Quad goes with too, because, I mean, talking about Yone being up, if it is still up, you got a Sejuani, Renekton, and a Yone. Like, holy.
And it could even be like a Sylas, right? It could be Yone or Sylas. Both work quite well. And I mean, I do think it's a little bit surprising that it's gone down to here. I feel like they're just going to slam the Yone, throw some protection bands down if you're concerned about it at all. It's such a powerful top side. It's also quite comfortable picks for FlyQuest. So this could be dangerous.
Shopify are clearly thinking, all right, we are going to invest everything in counter engage, though, because they slammed the Xayah Rakan immediately, too. They've got the Scion here. And we are, for FlyQuest, going to pick up the big AP in mid lane, more traditional mage. They're not gonna fully index into melee and engage there. Maybe they're a little bit worried about going too far, too short range. With the buffs that Hui got, scales really nicely. Like, the passive really, really hurts now, and provides you so much AoE and magic damage here for the fight.
And I feel like now if you're going to pick that, then you're going to be banning out Yone second phase for sure.
Yeah.
But Hui, I think, is always one of these interesting champions, because while it is quite low mobility, it is actually pretty hard to play into when Hui's are really good and really comfortable with their fear, because you can interrupt dashes, you can interrupt people actually going in for that CC. And when they're really comfortable with that, it becomes very difficult to actually take them out. Looking for the Ahri, you're going to be having to pray for Palafox Ahri here, I think.
Well, we'll see if it even escapes the bans. If they want to double
unlikely,
target.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get Teemo
we'll
for
try
that
our
guy.
best.
That's going to be... That's a pretty rare one.
That's like a game 7 in the best of 5, Fearless,
Yeah. Best of 9, maybe we'll get Teemo somewhere.
We could. I think at best of 9, I feel confident.
Okay, maybe. Zach?
See, he's not even saying he wants it. He's just like, Zach?
It's more likely than Teemo. It's more likely than Teemo. I'll give you that. Maybe.
Like, where am I?
All right, we've got the Yone, we've got the Jace both banned.
Underrated
We've got
pick.
Caitlyn, we've got the Smolder banned away as well. Let's see what FlyQuest wants to lock here. We need to see their AD carry. We need to see their support. I would expect to see the AD carry first.
Could be going that sort of route. I mean, that's what you're expecting if they do lock in the Lucian. Milio is becoming kind of that more popular new age variant of this duo. Masu definitely has his Lucian card. He is very good on it, I think. Really can impress on a lot of these different picks. And so it is going to be the Lucian. So you're expecting it to be Nami or Milio, just based on what else is going to round out this draft. And we're waiting for mid lane. We're waiting for jungle here.
I like that the crowd is now just shouting more options. We have like 4 or 5 different signs plus the audibles. Ooh, that one actually does seem fairly likely here. Oriana, there we go. You've got the ball delivery in Rakan already. Really good synergy.
Hey,
there.
Mundo guy!
Hey, we got a jackpot!
There we go!
We got a hit over there.
Ooh, Mundo Jungle. Mundo Jungle going to be coming through. Has a really fast clear. Okay.
Yeah!
Take a bow. Yeah, the Skewmond in EU is definitely a really big proponent of it. We'll see here. Mundo, very fast clear, as you mentioned. Kind of frustrating to play against sometimes.
Yep.
Farms extremely well.
The canister also makes him pretty difficult to pick off.
And that front line, when you have a Scion and a Mundo, is quite beefy here for Shopify walking into this FlyQuest comp. I think Quad, again, is going to have to do a lot of work. He was very good, I feel like, in the previous game, especially on that Talia, but he is going to carry a tremendous amount in these team fights.
So I've got a fun fact for you. So the last time FlyQuest was down 7,000 plus gold and came back, it was against TL in 2022 when Whippo was on TL. So has been a while since there has been that big of a comeback from this org, let alone this roster. So definitely was a huge one, and it's going to be building a lot of confidence for them going into what could be the final game of our series.
All right, non-subscribers, we will see you guys in 30 seconds. But for everybody else, I really, really am concerned about the Shopify mental coming into this one. Those types of games, like Game 2, are the most frustrating ones to lose when it felt like you were holding all the cards, but somehow you still didn't get the win. Hopefully they were able to reset in the short break between the games. They have a pretty stock standard team composition. The only thing that could, I guess, be called a little bit of a deviation would be the Jungle Mundo. But you've got a big tank in the top lane, traditional control mage in mid. You've got an AD carry that can peel for itself with a support that can either help with that or engage. I feel like they're not going to be put in a spot like the last game where if they get a lead, they'll feel like, oh, we can't 5v5. But also they're going to have to try to build that lead again, which is a lot tougher than it might first seem when you're against a squad like FlyQuest.
It absolutely is going to be really tough to be able to build up a lead similar to what they had in that second game. But, you know, they scale really well, and they
Mundo
do
wins
have
those.
Mundo definitely wins those. Q level 1 is really strong. And Mundo is great at absorbing engages because of the canister passive. It immunes the first CC. The canister pops out. If you pick it up, you get a little heal, and it refunds some of that cooldown. But, you know, for Sedge wanting to find an engage, you basically have to, like, Q flash and knock the canister off, then immediately ult and things like that. It makes it a lot more difficult to play around if you're trying to pick off this Mundo. And like we said, scales really well, clears really fast. They are basically a two-threat comp here. It's all about Palafox and Bvoy. The rest of them just have to keep that farm up and make space.
And I'm going to be looking at that bottom lane. Masu and Busio here. They have the Ignite in their lane. See if they can actually get some pressure going for themselves.
All right, nothing crazy at level 1, so let's go ahead. We've got Emily standing by for an interview with FlyQuest coach Nuke Duck.
Thank you very much. I'm here with FlyQuest coach Nuke Duck, who is kind of watching this level 1 as we go through. Masu getting a little low there. The first thing I did want to ask you, though, is coming off of a game that was as grueling as that one, what's going through your mind as you're watching your team?
We were getting outplayed, so I was a bit upset. Yeah, I was upset. We were getting outplayed, so we were kind of prepared to lose that one with how it was going, so it was fun to win it. But, you know, we're just prepping the next game and whatnot.
And then in this game specifically, I was a bit surprised that they left Lucian Nami open after locking in the Zyrakan. Were you at all surprised? And just talk me through your draft prep a little bit.
You know, it's a game 3, so what did they ban instead? Smolder. Yeah. I was not that surprised. We haven't really. I don't think we have played it on stage yet. So, you know, you kind of have to go a little bit of the enemy's like comfort as well. So yeah, I'm interested to see how it's gonna go because we haven't done it on stage yet.
All right. Well, all the best. Thank you so much for taking the time, and we'll throw it back to the cast.
All right, thank you all very much. And obviously the Lucian Nami doing exactly what it's drafted to do here in the early game as they are slamming this bot lane 2v2.
Yeah, I mean, that was rough. I mean, Bvoy and Sales tried to go really aggressive and try to get an advantage there. Weren't able to do so. Inspired versus Contracts, though, this is a matchup we've seen so many times between these two guys. I like the achievements tab there. Took Gen G to 5 games. Contract clapped up G2. True. And
our international accolades.
Exactly. And I mean, it's one of those things that I just think Contract is so important for this team and what he does. You know, Inspired, obviously, I feel like he's going to be the MVP. This guy has been so good all year long, all split long, so consistent. But he does have the luxury of having 3 winning lanes most of the time. Contracts does not. He often is the guy that is having to create opportunities, create plays, sometimes taking more risky moves and angles because his team is not going to win kind of just naturally by playing slow.
Yeah, and especially this game with the matchups that we have. FlyQuest pushing on top, pushing on bottom there, so should be a lot of opportunity there for Inspired, who just did standard clear up towards top side, grab your top scuttle crab, regular recall here for the Sedge.
All right, Shopify not having the greatest start here to the lanes, but apparently they had some things to say about the first 2 games heading into this third one. Let's listen in.
First game, draft gap. Second game, we were better than them, but we win it. So
True.
You didn't know what to say in the second game. Second game?
Yeah,
Draft gap.
Okay, draft gap. Then we were better, but we inted, so we call it draft gap.
We were better.
I actually like it, man. You got to be able to laugh it off. You got to be able to joke about it, right? You know, because otherwise you're just going to be down in the dumps. And we'll see, you know, how they're going to be able to go from here. B-Boy swaps up towards topside with Seos because, let's be honest, that 2v2 was going horrible. B-Boy's first buy was boots to double longsword. When you already got cooked on the first kind of 2v2, well, you're not going to be able to fight after that. So they get a call on the next base. They go top, and they're just trying to get out of there.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the grab a cull and get out of there answer to losing. So right up to the top side. And again, remember, though, the jungler is clearing.
Ooh, nice knock up. Whippo trying to get away from this with a slice now as Seos and B-Boy continue to chase. But as soon as he sees the flash, Whippo gets over the wall, stays safe.
They waited too long. If they had flashed early before he was actually at that wall, sure, he respawned flash, but he's still in your line of sight, and you can actually kill him there. Because they hesitated, he got to the wall, you lose the vision. It's 1 flash for 2, and Whippo's laughing at you.
Yeah, if you flash into the fog of war, then you can break anything that's in the air, and 2 for 1 is an exceptional trade. So they bought the call, they swapped out, they got stopped even.
Oh boy, this is going to go from bad to worse now as Shopify Rebellion's bot side duo is interrupted on their recall. And oh look, it's Busio and Masu, and they're ready to keep going with the 2v2.
Well, they're just going to base and stay still. We will not fight it. But the problem now is Fudge is moving top, so Renekton is going to be able to push in this wave. So you're going to lose at least a few minions. I don't know exactly how many because I can't see the full wave status down in bot lane. Whippo laughing about it. But this is going to be at least a couple that they do drop, and it's going to be another plate going over to Whippo. So yeah, Fudge does catch the wave top. Yeah, you do continue to avoid that 2v2. But, I mean, let's look at the CS. It's like nearly 20, 15, 16 CS right now just for that Lucian. And now the Renekton is actually up in gold as well.
We talked a lot about the mentality from the losing side of big swingy games like that. The mentality for FlyQuest is just like, whoa, we're playing with house money. We weren't even supposed to win that second game. The coach was talking about, we already counted that one as a loss, and we were prepping
hit this one for free.
We were counting the next game and prepping the next one, and now they come in and just going to be all smiles and laughing at the plays when they do work out in your favor, just like that. So the swaps will continue, though. Back up to the other side. They're trying to keep out of the even-sided ones.
Oh, nice sidestep away from Fudge's ultimate. Busio escaped with a beautiful bubble. Contracts and Fudge really wanted to get these kills, but sidestepping the Scion ulti plus the perfect bubble onto them both means FlyQuest's duo is in no danger.
All these Shopify flashes are being outplayed here on the top side of the map. Another one in the dirt. It's the Bermuda Triangle of flashes up on the top side of the map.
Where do they go?
You know things are going bad when the Renekton in the 1v2 is freezing the lane on your bot lane. That is sad to see. I'm not going to lie. It's been a while since I've seen this one.
Yeah, it's some ancient technology.
That is a rare sight.
Your bot lane is getting absolutely cooked when that is the case. They are clearly scared about where Inspired could be, but the fact that they don't feel confident to actually push that in is definitely very tough. I mean, they're missing those flashes, so they're just worried, well, if Whippo pops ult and Inspired flash ult someone, we're just going to die.
Yeah, I mean, Whippo was holding a full rage bar, right in front of them, and the Sejuani has ulti, so you're like, yeah, if Inspired does come, then they could definitely eat us up.
And there's your Dominus as Bwipo engages towards B-Boy and Seos. He'll clear out the entire wave, force them back a little bit. He also gets the barrier from the Xayah. Did not want to succumb to the combo from the Croc. But in the meantime, FlyQuest is saying, all right, well, we know that we've got the 1v2 down there in the bottom lane. It's not like Xayah and Rakan are coming up here. Easy pick onto the grubs. They'll just grab all 3 of those. Inspired can easily secure the entire objective here in the top side river, as Fudge can crash the wave into top lane, but just barely misses out on the first plate.
I will say, even though all those flashes, not the greatest look to having expended them, they actually haven't been punished that hard, and the swap did alleviate the pressure and did kind of work there for Shopify. So it didn't look the greatest with a lot of the flashes, but
Gold's still close.
There you go. Look at the scoreboard.
Just keep your eyes on the scoreboard. PMA, positive mental attitude. All right, FlyQuest have moved Busio down here to help Bwipo. It's Lizard and Fish versus Xayah and Rakan, as Seos and B-Boy still just trying to catch up. I mean, you can see Masu's farm 2 waves ahead of B-Boy just from those early advantages they had, and he's now getting that solo EXP and farm over in the mid lane, so the Lucian going to be very scary. B-Boy is just barely level 6. Masu is almost level 8 on his Lucian, and he has Ignite, so he'll be able to play very aggressively.
I mean, he's going to have Essence Reaver, and B-Boy is going to be on a very sad buy. He spent the gold on the Cull, he spent the gold on the boots, he's down in gold. See if Fudge can make something happen here, but I feel like Quad can probably walk this one out. Maybe not with Palafox, though.
Yeah, now that Palafox has shown up, it is certain doom for Quad. First blood over to Shopify Rebellion for what I believe is the first time this series.
That's a dub.
You'll take it.
We'll take those.
They got the Orianna getting paid here nice and early. Palafox going to get off to a little bit of a lead for himself on that one. At least for FlyQuest, the Hui does not spend the flash. It's not like you had summoners also get blown on that one, so you're not as easy of a repeat target, but still good pick from Shopify.
Yeah, it's great. And I mean, getting that Orianna gold, so important. You need B-Boy, you need Palafox to be strong because you are this 2-threat comp. And you do have a great ball delivery system here with Seos. You have hard engage to be able to kind of get that in on the back line. Lucian, as we know, I feel like it kind of scales with skill. Like, I don't think it just falls off later onto the game, but it's very hard to execute on. And when you're playing against someone like Seos on this Rakan, who can just R-flash on your face if you ever dash forward and then you get caught by a shockwave, it is very hard because you're pretty low range. So we'll have to see how we can do it.
Science coming up the river here. Could ulti.
Okay, defensive ult from Busio, making it so there's no way Seos can continue engaging, as now Fudge looking to disrupt this backline a little bit. Busio with some fast speed, looking to sidestep the cleavers, but no! Busio drops, and Shopify are grabbing kill number 2 of the game. They brought more people to the party, and they get paid for it.
The double flank there. Fudge up the river, Contracts down the other side from the river, and the pincer works out for Shopify. Another kill picked up for them. And they actually didn't drop any waves to do it because before rotating up, Fudge had pushed on the bottom side. So Bwipo's trying to get the wave back into tower now, but Fudge can get right back in place in time.
Yeah, Fudge involved in both of the kills so far. Was able to withstand the 1v1. Did fine, lane swapping his bot lane out of this problematic 2v2 that you were talking about, Kobe, keeping them close, and then is able to set up Palafox for the kill on top side, roam mid, help with a kill there. He's having a good game, and I think, again, Fudge is playing well in this series.
All right, FlyQuest, though, are in total control over the neutral objectives so far. They got all 3 grubs. They got that second Drake, although the first one did go over to Shopify Rebellion, so it's not like the feat is going to be secured just yet. But also, Shopify is close to getting the kills feat. That has gone the way of FlyQuest in both previous games. Now, Quad's in some danger against Palafox once more. Is Palafox going to get the solo bolo right here? Not quite enough damage. Quad steps away. There's that fear disengage that we were talking about earlier. Severing Bolt, not going to really land anything there at the end other than farming up the minions. Seos seeing if maybe he can interrupt Quad's recall. Contracts also here to join the party. Inspired and Busio hanging out nearby, providing enough of a distraction for Quad to walk away.
They've also got the early rotation on AD. You see B-Boy was coming up too, so you have to give up turret plate money here if you're FlyQuest. Quad got chunked out so heavily just to buy Palafox that they earn money even without getting a kill.
And I really love this because not only are you getting the turret plate there, but you're denying the entire wave because Quad's base was so delayed, he couldn't just insta-TP back and actually collect that. It wasn't a cannon wave, so he lost that full 6 minions. That's minus 100 gold, plus the plate difference, plus the experience that you're losing. Quad is actually pretty meaningfully behind for what feels like the first time this series.
the midfield genius here showing up in game number 3 when they need him the most.
Needed to calibrate the first couple games, you know? It's got him downloaded now.
We've got heart steals on both of our junglers up and running here early on as well. It is an item that is far from its once glorious state in the game, but still pretty effective for champions like the Mundo, like the Sejuani.
So when FlyQuest played C9, we had the fastest best of 3 in LTA history. This would actually be, if FlyQuest wins the game in 40 minutes and 2 seconds or longer, it would be the longest 3-0 in NA history. So that's LCS, that's LTA, that's everything. So would be kind of an interesting, it's one of those things like, it's the most competitive time that you've ever been sweet.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 3-0, but it was a long
But it was a 3-0. Made you fight for it.
That is some extreme copium right there, but you know what?
There's some very different 3-0s.
A record's a record.
We take those.
As Shopify are going to continue putting the pressure on this top lane tier 1 turret. Palafox just getting a lot of money for himself up here. Really solid performance early on in this game, like you already mentioned. Masu still in the mid lane by himself. He does not have the same EXP advantage he once had over B-Boy. It's not like the full 2 levels, but still a solid level ahead.
B-Boy, though, pretty relevant, right? Like, he already has his first item done. The cull is cash out. He's got a BF on top. B-Boy is chilling. He's, in fact,
up in
almost
gold.
600 gold ahead because he picked up that one kill, plus he cashed out the cull now. So despite the fact that the 2v2 went so bad for them, they really played the map well to just make sure it didn't actually matter.
Yeah, I mean, Shopify are in a very good spot as they go in.
Look at the burst on contracts, though. Masu just shooting him to pieces, but Inspired's got to be careful as he tries to retreat. Palafox with a nice ulti. Shopify Rebellion 3-0 in kill.
Even better position now that they do go in. Mundo goes where he pleases. He just walks at this team, creating the space there for them to follow up. And because they got all this gold on their carries already for Shopify as they're getting kind of gunned down in mid lane.
Yeah, Masu's getting close. He wants to scrap for this. B-Boy and Seos firing back the barrier and heal, the defensive summoners used for the Shopify duo. Busio also spending the heal of his own. Masu using that piercing light bonus range through the minion to hit B-Boy for a last little bit of chunk of damage. But all the meanwhile, it was Rift Herald secured by Shopify. They've locked in the kills feat. They're 2,500 gold ahead. Things are looking good 15 minutes in.
Yeah, it's an exceptional state to be in because, whoa! Okay, he's fine. Calculated. Here's the counterplay.
Okay, Fudge arrives. This time, that Scion ulti is going to hit, but Busio flashes over the wall to stay safe. Quad fires off the Spiraling Despair, but it's not going to land. Whippo arrives on the back end of the fight, though, and a little bit more damage. Might just kill Fudge. Severing Bolt doesn't hit him. FlyQuest won't get anything as Masu gets caught at the very end of the shockwave, but it will not kill him either. Contracts staying alive on the Mundo. FlyQuest tried, but they could not secure any of the kills.
Mundo and Scion, these super tanks, still will not go down, just barely on the front lines. Both of them surviving, even with the ults coming through, even with everybody converging. And they started that fight with Seos being fully chunked out and having to go back to base.
And I mean, how frustrating for FlyQuest. Seos barely lives, then Contracts barely lives, and Fudge barely lives. There's 3 almost kills. They couldn't finish off anyone there. And this team is just going to get tankier and tankier. The gold leads are actually getting pretty significant now. And every kill has gone exactly where you would want it. It's gone to Palafox and B-Boy. Monster's putting on pressure, but it doesn't matter because every time there's a fight, it's B-Boy picking up the kills. Now they got first tower, so the feats are completed as well.
Yeah, this is the first time in the series that Shopify have earned themselves the empowered boots. It's a really good start in pretty much every department here for the Rebels, but now the next dragon is spawned. FlyQuest have control over the bot side river right now. Fudge is down there closer to bottom lane, Quad being the one to answer right now on the Hui. This Hui pick not working out super great for FlyQuest so far.
Yeah, and now just a couple seconds here, Fudge will get his ult back for the Scion. They're already in position. You have to expect Shopify here, just start up the Dragon and go for this objective because Whippo on top side is pushing at tower with teleport. They want to at least get something here.
Okay, Dragon started up. B-Boy and Contracts putting the damage into that as Whippo uses his dominance before the teleport, so he's ready to go as soon as he arrives. Tons of damage onto Fudge. Whippo has made his way into the fight, but he's already about to die. Flashing back out of the way of the Blade Caller. Now re-engaging after Fudge. And finally, FlyQuest get their kill. Fudge gets shut down, but the dead body is already rampaging. He zones Busio and Masu away, but now with the Scion completely and truly out of the picture, the Dragon is still at death's door, and it's still Shopify Shopify with control of the bottom side. Riverman is secured by Contract to the Mundo as FlyQuest look for a little bit more damage to get something back, and Masu's going to grab another kill, this time on a Contract. Bwipo moved down into the bottom lane in the meantime, and he's going to take the tier 1 turret there. So although Shopify may have got themselves the objective, their gold lead has nearly entirely disappeared as the cost.
And the biggest difference there, Bwipo had flash when he came in, and they were trying to trade top laners. Fudge did not have flash to get back out. So if you look at the beginning of this, they basically accept, all right, fine. You want to have this Renekton teleport in? We'll focus him on this left side while we leave Fudge there. And it's basically going to be a fight where you focus Sion, we focus Renekton. Probably should be good for us, right? But the Renekton can flash away from the second blade caller there after the ult. The Sion had no exit out of it, and so they exchange, frontline basically, and get FlyQuest the extra kills. Shopify then do return, and they at least get the dragon for themselves, but giving up the extra kills here and the extra money to FlyQuest may be detrimental.
Absolutely, and I mean, so much of it went to Masu. Masu went back to base there with 1,800 gold in pocket to spend after that fight. So he not only has his second item, he's got 2 longswords towards his third, and it's actually a Bloodthirster second here from B-Boy. I was kind of curious because he got a Vamp Scepter a little bit earlier before that fight, if he was just going to sit on the Vamp, but he's been constantly getting chunked by Masu over and over and over and poked and prodded. So he's actually decided to fully commit to the BT. That does mean you're not going to be able to poke him down, but it also means his sustained damage is a lot lower than a lot of these secondary options.
And I love how aggressive Masu plays on the Lucian. He's always looking for chances to dash in, find a quick combo, and play the champion the way it was designed to be played. Seos got to be careful about clearing out some of those wards as Bwipo and Inspired are waiting in the wings. Masu going to continue trying to keep these waves shoved up and shoved in towards Shopify, who only have a 600 gold lead now.
I mean, it's been a really fun game. There's so many little things that FlyQuest does well to fight back from these difficult situations. Even the pre-ult from Bwipo might have actually died without being able to get it off. It's 500 bonus health that he came into. He was very low when he flashed away. These small things, but they're looking for an engage.
Yep, Fudge wants to find the angle here in the bot lane duo, but again, it is sidestepped. Inspired is tanky, but he's not tanky enough. He has to flash away to stay alive there as Shopify, again, always looking for these engages with the Scion.
And that's the second time in this game Palafox has shockwaved Inspired out of his queue, forcing him to flash.
Okay, Bwipo's trying to make something else happen here, but he's got to be so careful. He runs in, loses 75% of his HP, and immediately has to retreat.
Fighting these fights very close. In the end, FlyQuest are the ones that get to push it on the tower, though. It does force the teleport out as the pressure does continue.
Okay, Fudge arrives. He's going to make sure they can keep this tier 1 turret defended. It is very low, but it's still standing. Masu eats a cleaver there. Going to have to be a little bit more careful. Not any true danger as he continues to retreat alongside the rest of his team. Now with a culling, firing towards the Shopify lines. It'll take a big chunk out of the Mundo. We got 8 people right here in mid lane, but nobody's fully committing to the fight just yet. Masu, another dash away from the decimate of the Scion, does not want to get caught up in that one.
Yeah, they were buying time there. Palafox finished his split push on the bottom side, went back to purchase in base now, and can rotate up to answer top side here. Can Bwipo actually push quick enough? That top tower is very low. I think that Palafox's timing is good enough, and he'll be able to go collect.
So there's a 400 gold lead for Shopify, but it's also worth noting there's a very distinct difference in the flower petals picked up. Normally, you don't see this level of difference unless Otacon has already been claimed, I feel like. 16-2, that's at least a few hundred golds worth of stats.
Yeah, and B-Boy and Masu were actually just sitting for a while there at the exact same goal. Look at the total damage. I asked for this graphic because I was curious what it would be. Look at Masu's damage so far this game. 17,800 damage just about. Well over double what B-Boy has been able to do. He's been playing super aggressive. You have to with this pick, and I feel like he is really piloting it well thus far.
He's playing super aggressive, and he has 2 of the biggest meatballs in League of Legends that he has to put those bullets into. So there's tons of health bar for Masu to work through. We do have Otacon alive in the bottom part of the map. We will also have the next Drake joining him down there right next door in about 30 seconds. I'm expecting another team fight to pop up here very soon.
And if there is, there's going to be a very, very big difference here with 2 items for Palafox. This gold lead actually will have a meaningful difference where Quad has not been able to finish his second item. And so you're looking at this Orianna Shockwave. This thing could be huge, especially if B-Boy can...
There he got it. Masu's in trouble. Contracts gets the kill. Absolutely huge for Shopify. Masu wanted to step up and use the culling. I don't know if he didn't notice the ball. I don't know if he was just disrespecting the ball, but the ball was there and Masu gets dropped.
I think he just thought, if he one-man shockwaves me, I'm going to be able to survive it and be able to get out, but clearly disrespecting it, gets hit by the shockwave, and then Contract finished him off with just a flash E briefcase to the face.
All right, now even more trouble. Quad has to flash over the wall to survive as Seos and Fudge try to find the other carry. Meanwhile, though, the entire time, you've got Whippo putting in work on the top lane, tier 2 turret, but now he's teleporting in to join the rest of the team. They do not want to allow Shopify to take the free Otacon, but Quad is once again under pressure. The Way is about to die again. Palafox taking a kill on him. This is not Quad's game. Whippo flashing and dashing forward to try to get the kill onto B-Boy, who barely stays alive with the ulti, but finally drops there with the very end. Otacon's down to 1 HP. Contracts at least secures it, but now Whippo and Bucio got to try to fight as Inspired has died. Palafox trying to escape from the Renekton, and he stays alive, but Masu has rejoined the fight. The culling's not there in time. Whippo needs a little bit more range, but he cannot find the last bit of damage for Palafox.
Oh, this series is so close. Even with FlyQuest coming out ahead in a 2-0, the last game so incredibly close. Shopify fighting for so long, and this is the reason why it was like that. I mean, Shopify, now they have 3 dragons for themselves. They still are able to get the Otacon to clean up some of the extra flowers on it, but FlyQuest counterplay, even while they were losing some things, they had Renekton split pushing, he finishes the tower, he teleports in, they go for the kill onto B-Boy, and they keep answering some of these plays.
Yeah, Masu definitely saw that.
That ball was there for a long time.
He knew it was there. I think he just disrespected, and then flash E, that just goes through. Once that auto starts, you are taking that slap right upside the head, and Quad
you never want to take
man.
the slap right upside the head.
You don't. You got to stay out of range of that slap. But Quad, unfortunately, trying to walk in here, he gets punished as well. The Shopify core playing really, really well, and they do have this massive objective advantage. This was great, though, from Whippo as well as Inspired. They get in, they're able to take down the AD carry, and look how close this was. 20 HP, 1 HP before he actually knocks it down. If that went the way of FlyQuest, it is a very different story how we're talking about that fight.
Yeah, because how Flowers was talking about it, they already had a bunch of flowers, and so it would sweep up all the extra ones on the Rift and empower those ones that they already had. It was a very good CC chain.
B-Boy is just running.
He definitely has to, because last time he got CC chained, it was very good from the Renekton Empower W into the immediate Sejuani stun. That's why his ult was so late, and he ended up going down so quickly. FlyQuest will start it up.
Okay, Baron begun. FlyQuest demanding Shopify comes to answer them. They know that Fudge wanted to take that tier 1 turret down there in the bottom lane, but now he's got to stop and try to make his way up to join this fight. There is a teleport, but he'd much rather use the ulti to join if that's an option. Already crossing the path into mid lane. Expect Shopify to make their move here soon. The Baron is already down below half HP, and Fudge is ready to charge in. FlyQuest backs away from the objective, and the Baron is going to reset. Whippo wants to make his entry onto the side, but he's going to be burned down almost entirely before the fight even really starts. Now Contracts also in retreat. FlyQuest have more damaged health bars than Shopify. Nobody is going to take the Baron.
Yeah, Whippo goes in there. He does take a lot of damage, but he had the Sterix. He knew he was going to be really tanky with the ulti, with the Sterix proc, so he's willing to draw that pressure, and at the same time, Contracts and Fudge were both put incredibly low themselves. But at the end of the day, B-Boy takes down the tier 1, so they push them off. They hold on to the teleport as well from Fudge, which was critical. He just walked all the way there.
What a game number 3. Game number 2 was the massive comeback battle. And now game number 3, 27 minutes in, we're dead even on the gold. The biggest gold lead was the 2,500 for Shopify 15 minutes into the game. But after that disappeared, it has just been a neck and neck race.
And we have Soul available here for Shopify in just 1 minute. We'll see if they can actually grab it. Infernal Soul would be pretty scary for this Orianna, who's already looking powerful.
Certainly would be huge boost in power. FlyQuest trying to see if they can get any cooldowns out of Shopify before that dragon arrives, and they have to throw down there, because that is for sure going to be a force. I mean, maybe there's something with Baron being available, but honestly, I think you just have to go for it and answer at the dragon.
All right, Masu going to keep shoving these waves in. Everybody else on FlyQuest is waiting to make sure that Masu doesn't run into any danger. This guy is absolutely critical for any fight. Lord Dominic's regards fully completed as the third item. Really couldn't imagine a different item third here having to deal with the incredible health tanks of the Mundo, of the Scion, just being able to rip through that armor so that the damage can be so much more impactful. But Shopify are saying, all right, if you guys want to stop us from getting the soul, whatever, we're going to look to the Baron instead. But FlyQuest are not going to fall for the trap. Inspired steps forward. Contracts and B-Boy have already started up the objective. Palafox gets hit by a Severing Bolt. The Sejuani ulti follows, but there's no follow-up to the ult. Now Whippo's ready to try to slice and dice in as Contracts escapes for now, but more damage flies through. The Nami wave over the top of the entirety of Shopify Rebellion. Inspired's going to be careful. He jumps back in. He tries to flash out, but instead he's going to be killed. Seos falls and Fudge right next to him. Whippo with the Sterix Gauge staying alive, and the pressure on Palafox is not enough. Fudge might have died, but B-Boy already got a double kill. Palafox is about to fall. Masu's trigger finger is feeling hella itchy today, and Contracts looks like a good target. FlyQuest just killed 4 of them.
It's Masu on the center, and now it's Masu on the Lucian. This guy's going crazy. B-Boy wants more.
B-Boy comes back in, tries to get something. He'll take quad, but he'll give the ace over to FlyQuest and Masu.
And the Infernal is still up. That Dragon Soul is available for the taking, so these late kills are very meaningful. That will be no AD carry for Shopify, no mid laner for Quad, but Quad is going to have teleport when he gets back up, so just be careful with those late game chases. But this fight around the Baron was so close with the frontliners going down very early. The zombie Scion does a lot of work here trying to even up so they do get the kill, but then Masu's able to step forward. Red buffs on all of FlyQuest here. He keeps getting empowered by the Nami, continues the chase, enables the chase. I want to get back to the soul though. Okay, we can see in the picture-in-picture. Okay. There we go. FlyQuest are going to reset first. They're going to be the ones to put a stop to the Dragon stacking.
And Masu based after that fight with 3,000 gold. He just bought the BF, so he's holding on to get the IE. He's got to be very close. He's got to be a wave or two away. Lucio, very good on the Nami, 9-3, having a great game so far. Has been on point with the bubbles and keeping Masu as safe as possible. FlyQuest definitely do not want to fight until they have that IE. I think Masu's got it on base right here. I can't see why else he'd be going back.
All right, Masu going for the big power spike from the Infinity Edge.
There it is.
So much crit now. Every shot is critting. This Lucian is absolutely the raid boss of this game. Shopify have to find an answer for him.
What a talent Masu has been ever since he entered the league. Rookie of the year. Here he goes. He's going to follow up on Whippo's little stun on Fudge. Just some chunk damage.
All right, FlyQuest assembled as 5. Shopify doing the same to stop them. The Baron still available to fight for as FlyQuest continue moving forward. Now Inspired putting a little bit of CC on the Contracts, but it's all about B-Boy. He gets caught, but not instantly killed. Masu's gonna die instead. Shopify found the carry. Whippo goes into the back to finish up the kill into B-Boy, but where's the rest of the damage? Fudge about to drop and Quad takes the kill. Whippo will not stop. He continues the chase and stuns up Palafox, but he doesn't have the damage just yet. Finally, Fudge's body falls over as Seos, Palafox, and Contracts scramble to stay alive. A 2-for-1 trade favoring FlyQuest.
What an engage onto B-Boy again. Whippo flashes forward. They get this stun. They get a huge chunk out. Even with Palafox nicely peeling there and giving Shopify a little window to win this team fight, they still are able to push through. So there it is. They engage.
This shockwave though.
Yeah, the peel is really good. But then look at the Nami from the other side creates so much space, and Quad over here is just blasting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they get this engage on B-Boy. They get him very, very low. Whippo thankfully able to finish him off, but that shockwave saved the fight, potentially the game. I feel like they just get absolutely rinsed if you do not land that shockwave on the Lucian because it allowed them to take him down. Yeah, they still do kind of lose the fight, but it is a much closer affair. Masu goes down. They can't go to the Baron after it. So Palafox definitely making a huge play there, and he's closing in on his death cap, which would be a massive purchase. Level 16 now on that Orianna. Once the death cap is through, you got to be so careful.
B-Boy really just has to have his finger on his R button at all times. He has a target on his back. He keeps on getting stunned up. Really, really good plays from Whippo a lot of the time, flashing on him and surprising him. But you have to be so quick here,
Oh, nice blade collar on Masu, but there's no follow-up to really try to punish him in time. Flash available on that FlyQuest AD carry as well. FlyQuest trying to make sure they maintain control over the topside river here with the Baron still available to fight for as Masu fires off the culling. B-Voice soaks a little damage from it, but most of it will be absorbed by the front line of Shopify Rebellion. The Redemption also used to try to keep the health bars as full as possible. FlyQuest, they've shoved Shopify back a little bit, but honestly, it's not a ton of meaningful damage. Only the Mundo really hurt after that one, and you can see his health slowly regenerating now as FlyQuest move their way up towards the Baron, but they aren't going to start anything. They're trying to bait Shopify in. Fudge takes a little bit of damage, but the dance back and forth between both sides. Palafox teleporting back into the mid lane now to rejoin the team. Masu dashing back away as Busio's ulti is used for the escape for FlyQuest, but once again, Whippo's in the very middle of everybody. Finds the initial engage, and Fudge takes a ton of damage as well. Both top laners very low, as Seos can't find any sort of a way to enter into the fight. Nobody dies either side.
This Renekton is like more tanky than a Scion in a lot of these fights. Whippo doing a good job being a point person for the team. Thought there was going to be like a difference in front lines with Shopify having Mundo and Scion, but they're constantly getting really good looks there for FlyQuest, and they're getting a lot of chunk damage out as well. Masu continually poking away. His damage numbers is really going through the roof. I feel like they've got another good setup here towards the Baron, continually replacing vision.
I mean, Whippo at this point, his ulti gives him 700 HP. The Sterix is a 1k HP shield as well, and he's getting so much healing from the Q. He always goes in when he can get in the midst of the whole team. And he really is making himself such a nuisance because not only is he tanky, he puts out a lot of threats. So it is very difficult, I think, for Shopify to actually deal with him. And he's playing his job so well because if you were playing passively and scared, you don't actually build the space that Quad and Masu need to knock down these super tanks.
I mean, he's 4,000 gold ahead individually. He is a full item ahead of either one of the enemy tanks. So yes, we're talking about how he's just as tanky as the Scion. He's staying on the level of being that front line, but he's also earned the right to do that by building the lead that he has built for himself so far this game. 2,500 gold lead for FlyQuest, 10 seconds on the clock until the next Drake spawns. It is still sole point for Shopify. FlyQuest still only at 2 Drakes. You can see Inspired and Whippo down there near the Dragon Pit, while Masu and Busio are still hanging around the topside river because they know last time around Shopify wanted to use their sole point status to try to take the Baron instead. FlyQuest knows they'll probably try to do it again, so they're going to leave Whippo down there soloing the Drake, while the rest of FlyQuest as a 4-man unit stops Shopify from moving north.
Yeah, you want to have it Inspired up there towards mid so you can show that you are ready to, at the very least, have smite contention towards that Baron, and they don't give any window there for Shopify to try and use that dragon advantage, which is now gone. All the dragons have been evened up here with FlyQuest grabbing that one. They're going to force on this Baron anyway.
All right, FlyQuest ready to try to stop Shopify here. 10 to 11 in kills, very close game. As Shopify have the Baron down below half HP. Seos waiting off to the side, looking for his opportunity to jump in, and he finds the engage on Masu! The shutdown credit to Contracts as Shopify killed the most valuable target on FlyQuest. Now Inspired and Whippo are trying to salvage something on the back end of the fight. Quad's the only damage left, and he's doing enough! Whippo is tearing through Shopify Rebellion as Contracts now tries to pick up another kill into Busio. He and Fudge are still trying to frontline, but there's nothing left to frontline for. Palafox and B-Void down means even though Shopify started the fight off with the perfect pick on Masu, Whippo showed up and carried it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a brilliant engage onto Masu. They just 100-0 him, but Whippo is taking the game into his own hands, gets in the backline, knocks down both the carries.
He is a monster. Here's a look at it, and it was Seos over the wall with the flash, lights out. Beautiful one shot there in the CC, but then the chase down, and then the arrival of the Renekton. Whippo comes in, he flashes onto B-Void, once again stuns him up into the Sejuani stun. These CC chains have just been so good for them in the backline there with his ultimate ticking, by the way, which got buffed, does so much damage, and it kind of rips them apart. So we'll get right back to live though.
Whippo's just loving some League of Legends today. Masu, though, in some danger. Fudge immediately engaging towards the Lucian. Masu playing so aggressively, but this is the other edge on that sword. Dashes back over the wall to get away from Contracts as Shopify goes in for their re-engage. Inspired dashing over the wall himself,
Whippo.
using the ult defensively. Whippo again looking for the carries on Shopify Rebellion. The Renekton's going to tank a ton of damage. The Sterix Gauge barely keeping him going as Contracts and Fudge now look for the re-engage and the re-engage. FlyQuest disengaging back into their own red side jungle. And again, no dead bodies either side.
Yeah, they're not quite able to finish off Contracts, who is level 18 now on the Mundo. He's up there with the Renekton, and that level 16 ultimate for Mundo is so ridiculously strong because of all of the additional bonus health that you're getting when you're ulting near enemy members. So if you get in the middle of that fight, you pop the ulti, you get a ridiculous amount of healing, and he is very, very tanky. Even picking up a Knight's Vow now, just knowing it's about the carries at this point in the game, and Shopify definitely hanging around this Baron, trying to threaten that they could be starting it.
All right, Shopify again, going to begin the objective. FlyQuest on the approach. Fudge and Contracts are going to need to frontline. For Palafox specifically, the Orianna has been such a factor this game, as now Whippo is ready to make his entrance here with the Dominus. The Baron's already down to 2,000 HP. It's going to be a smite fight, and Inspired shows why he's the best jungler in the LTA. Now he's going to drop in trade, but Whippo is chasing after Palafox, and B-Boy is already dead. Shopify Rebellion, they get the kill back on Amasu. Now Seos trying to peel for his mid laner. Palafox is on a wild journey all the way through the jungle, and he'll continue trying to escape from Whippo. The Crocodile is very scary. He gets the reset on his dash because he goes through the Krugs, and it gives him enough distance to catch up to the Orianna. Now with Quad right behind him, it's surely another kill coming in for FlyQuest.
Oh my goodness. Shopify try and combine a Blade Caller and their Smite, but Inspired is too good. He gets in between. Let's take another look at it. I know they're going to slow it down.
Yeah, it's getting incredibly low there.
2.1K, 19. So the call was to go at 2K, which is a classic number to go for when you're comboing with big abilities like that. But Inspired knows it too, and he just gets in there.
Yeah, really well played by him. And Contracts had no ulti also, which just meant that he just got focused down, burst down in that fight. He was tanking the Baron and the damage from Masu.
Okay, I will kill her. We got the Nash, guys, okay? You want kill? It's personal? Here you go.
Whippo making sure that everybody's getting what they need. You need a personal vendetta kill? There you go.
I love Smite steals like that, though, because Inspired is like, okay, he's going to pick a number that he thinks that you're going to pick. And then he just throws it down there. That was crazy.
Look at Masu and Whippo getting the damage done for their team. And over on the other side, Palafox doing a lot of work. But Masu has just been relentless. Even though he's gotten picked off a few times, he's playing so aggressive. We got to fight.
Oh, B-Boy, what was that? He's thrown into the pit and then immediately executed point blank. Now Contracts getting caught out for the follow-up. The close back and forth of this game just evaporates as Quad gets a double kill, and Shopify Rebellion are forced out of the jungle, forced back into their base, right as what has to be the Dragon Soul for one side or the other spawns. FlyQuest doesn't even care. They've got the Baron. They've got a 5v3. They're going straight to the enemy base.
Yeah, B-Boy was the one who blast-coned himself into the pit there. So just a misclick, you have to think.
That was a game-losing blunder as Shopify Rebellion try to stay alive, but Palafox is already under pressure, and Inspired's keeping the chase going. The Nami wave flies through. Nobody on Shopify is dead yet, but Whippo can fix that real quick. Seos barely escapes back into the fountain as Fudge is locked up by the Renekton. Lots of low health bars on FlyQuest, but nobody's dead quite yet. Palafox falls. Whippo's on a killing spree. FlyQuest is going to take the inhibitor. The game will go on, but it's bot lane inhib. Surely they will just take the Drake on their way out, or maybe not. They're going to wrap back around and go for the tier 3 turret over in mid lane. Whippo maintaining his presence, his pressure there in the front line. Still 40 seconds left on Palafox, but FlyQuest has injured health bars that they've got to be aware of. Backing away now, looking to head back to the Infernal Soul.
Yeah, that thing kind of looming ominously. As you said, Palafox is still down, but Shopify, they're trying to chase. They're trying to do something here. They don't want FlyQuest to be able to reset and fully heal.
Oh, Contrax has taken so much damage from that culling, though. Masu immediately forcing the frontliner back, and Bwipo has rejoined the fight. Guardian Angel purchased for the last item. He's got that in tandem with a Sterix Gauge. You are not gonna kill this crocodile. Masu's already almost got the Infernal Drake down and dead. Infernal Soul claimed by FlyQuest.
Really well played sequence there by FlyQuest. They get in the base, they knock down the inhibitor, they chunk them out as they're trying to walk in. So Contrax without ult, Mundo really can't walk in. You are useless without your ultimate there. And then the rest of the FlyQuest members stay outside of the pit. They zone Shopify away while Masu is knocking that down. Infernal Soul secured. Mercurial Scimitar purchased up there from Masu. More and more items coming through here. Death Cap done as well now for Quad. And it feels like FlyQuest are moments away from closing this series out.
And if they can, Azil, they are going to complete that record you were talking about, because it is already past 40 minutes. It would be the longest 3-0 sweep in LTA or LCS history.
Games 2 and 3 have definitely been a battle. Shopify showing some solid performances, but still, when it counts, when it's those clutch moments, FlyQuest are finding their way through. Whether it was the long defense in game number 2, the inspired smite steal off of the combo timing here in this third game, they are just constantly delivering when their backs are against the wall. Now they've got total control over the Rift. They're getting all the waves shoved up. The Baron is going to spawn again in 1 minute, and the entire Rift belongs to FlyQuest.
I mean, how about Bwipo in this game? This is one of the biggest individual gold leads I feel like I've seen in a long time. Nearly 7,000 gold ahead in the 1v1. Fudge has just been grouped up, it feels like, the whole game, while Bwipo has been hoovering up gold all around the map here, and he has really made it worth his team's while. He took that gold, he dominated team fights, he made such a big impact. Now he has the GA on top of the Sterix that is just going to make it even harder to take him down.
Now the cope is, well, any further increase in that gold lead is purely cosmetic.
He's too rich. He can't do anything
He's too
with
rich. It doesn't even matter anymore. Any more gold into the full build, full level 18 Renekton. Capped out. There you go.
All right, 8,000 gold lead for FlyQuest as a team, 7,000 gold lead for Bwipo as a Renekton. As the Baron is 3 seconds away from spawning, and as soon as it spawns, FlyQuest is already DPSing. It shouldn't take a whole long time to beat this up, really, and it looks like Shopify are recognizing that there's no way to even try to approach this. Free Baron uncontested for FlyQuest.
Yep, FlyQuest now have everything they need to try to put the finishing touches on this one. We'll see if they can do it. I mean, as much as you're joking, Kobe, if Shopify can make it go longer, Masu and Bwipo are full build. Bwipo actually has, nearly 3,000 gold in pocket, so that is just dead gold. It's not doing anything for them right now, but they have the Soul, they have the Baron, they have an enormous gold lead, and they have just been looking straight up better in these fights. So it's going to need a bit of a miracle engage, I think, from Shopify if they were to hold on.
All right, the pressure is mounting. Up here in the top lane, the tier 3 turret. Already almost gonna die. Masu just shreds these things as Bwipo is creating a different threat over in mid lane at the same time. Inhibitor falls topside. Bwipo's got the wave, ready to do the same thing here in mid. Another massive calling. Just there's gotta be 200 bullets in there as Masu gets himself back away. Shopify wanted to take their chance to try to engage, but they cannot do it. Spiraling Despair into Contracts as he has to try to flash away and escape. Bwipo's in the front line once more with the Sterix Gauge, staying alive with the call of the Meek. He's surviving on 1 HP for so long. B-Boy barely lives through it. Bwipo finally dies, but at the cost of the base for Shopify Rebellion. FlyQuest backing away with their raid boss down. Contracts and Fudge forcing them to take their exit. The game goes on.
That was crazy. B-Boy nearly died to Bwipo's dominance while he was in the GA res because the AoE damage continues, so he had to use the ulti defensively there. Bwipo, though, does lose quite a bit. Loses the GA, is going to swap that out immediately for a Death Dance. But like you say, they do hold on. Their base completely destroyed, though. They lost every tower, including the Nexus towers and all 3 inhibitors.
It was also a fully stacked bounty on the Renekton, a deserved bounty, by the way. So that was also collected. Here's another look. They tried to initially, go for Masu, then they flash backwards, and Bwipo decides to take it upon himself to use his Guardian Angel.
Oh, he used it. And this Dominus, look at that. He almost dies. Just barely. One more tick of the Dominus, and that is a dead AD carry and probably just game over. Bwipo, though, does end up going down, and they're able to hold on. You can see a little bit of frustration on his face there.
So that shutdown full gold did go to Palafox. Maybe. Just maybe it is now Shopify's turn.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
Maybe it is Shopify's turn for the heroic defense and their comeback in this series.
I mean, Palafox is pretty much full build. The 6th item isn't fully complete, but it's an unbroken arm guard, so you're going to get effectively the same value. But B-Boy dies instantly to Masu. He doesn't even get a chance to use the ulti. The double kill comes through, and the game is over. Shopify are cut to ribbons as FlyQuest will take the win in this series. It might be the longest 3-0 in North American history, but it's still a clean sweep for FlyQuest.
Well played by FlyQuest. And yeah, the end series scorecard will be misleading.